Hey everybody, it's Rich from richonmoney.com, and today I'm talking to you about long distance real estate investing. 5 things that are crucial to get right if you want to be successful. Number 1, the importance of boots on the ground. I will tell you guys why later. Number 2, the best real estate agent for long distance real estate investing. You need to have one. Number 3, choosing a property manager from long distance. Number 4, choosing the right property from long distance. That's really important. And number 5, managing contractors from long distance. Those are the 5 things I'm going to talk to you about today. Subscribe to this on YouTube if you're not already subscribed. The importance of boots on the ground. This is not emphasized much by most other real estate, I'd say, influencers. Dare I call myself that? Maybe I'm a mini influencer. Most other influencers and gurus, they're talking about not so much the importance of boots on the ground, the importance of picking the right location. It's got to have the right financials, population growth, jobs, unemployment, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's as important as investing in a place where the numbers are going to work and where you've got some form of boots on the ground. Boots on the ground means that someone you trust has either lived there before or lives there now. And I'm going to go through a hierarchy of what I think the best boots on the ground situation. In other words, a hierarchy of these would be the best places to invest. Try to be at the highest on this list as possible. Number 1, of course, would be the place you live now or within driving distance. Of course, that wouldn't be long distance real estate investing, but that's the best way to take advantage of boots on the ground and local knowledge. Number 2, a place that you have lived before. Maybe you grew up there. Maybe it was a previous assignment. Number 3, a place where relatives, close friends, or trusted confidants live. Number 4, a place you plan to retire. I take that as a hierarchy of boots on the ground. I'll tell you why this is important. People have got to do things for you while you're far, far, far away that are super important. They've got to notice the changes in the area. They've got to have some local knowledge. They've got to meet with contractors when things are going well, but especially when things are going bad. They've got to handle a crazy situation with a tenant that's trashing a place. They've got to, the police are involved in a situation. You got to have a boots on the ground person there. There's tons of reason why you need boots on the ground. It'll all come out later on. That's number 1. Number 2, the best real estate agent for real estate investing. It's a mouthful. First of all, most real estate agents have no frickin' clue, all right? They have no clue about how to work with an investor because they don't care. All they care about is they want you to buy a house as fast as possible. They want to show you 3 or 4 or 5 houses and then have you buy something that's move-in ready so they can get their commission fast. And if you're going to take much longer than that, then you're costing them more money per hour and they don't want to mess around with you. Unfortunately, a real estate investor needs a lot more time from a real estate agent who is willing to make lots and lots of lowball offers for us and not be all embarrassed about it and be willing to do the extra work. Another thing that we need is someone who's going to go in and take a lot of extra pictures for us because we're not there to see it ourselves. Somebody who's going to be very responsive by email and by texting. These things are very, very, very important. They need to be responsive. Once you buy a property from them, they're going to get this nice little fat check. Make sure that they are being responsive and that they are doing the things that you need them to do as a long distance real estate agent for you. And if they're not, switch to another one. Don't be afraid to sort of fire somebody. I mean, they really haven't been hired, but sometimes you need to let go and say, this isn't working for me. Sorry, I'm going to go find somebody else. Look, it's your investment. It's your money. Don't waste your time with agents that aren't giving you the time of day. That's what you need. Best real estate agent for long distance investing. Number 3 on the list. Looks better this way, doesn't it? Choosing a property manager to do long distance real estate investing. This has been, I put it as number 3. It has been probably the most important item for me as far as the success that I've had in long distance real estate investing. Why? Because I didn't have boots on the ground. I didn't have I guess in my case, it was sort of a place that I lived before, but I only lived there for 10 months. And then once I left, I needed somebody to fill that role for me. And in my case, it ended up being my property manager, and we'll talk about this. Choosing a property manager from long distance, how to choose the best one. I'm going to rely on referrals first. Real Estate Investing Association, REIA meetings, they happen in most cities. If you can go in person when you're assigned there, great. Maybe that's not the case anymore because you've already left, but you probably can find their Facebook page. Start talking to people, right? Start asking questions. Just ask, who are the best managing companies? That's how you're going to start your list. Bigger Pockets Forums probably has a forum for your city. Go into that Bigger Pockets forum. This should be free. Don't sign up for Pro unless you want to. And ask a bunch of questions about this, about different things. You're going to be asking about real estate agents, about contractors, but about the best management company, all right? Do a bunch of online research. Get a list of the companies and check the reviews and check their websites and check their Facebook sites and do like a social media sort of review of them. I actually have a separate video about it and a separate blog post about how to pick the best property manager, so I shouldn't go into too much depth here. Go find it. It's a good one. Choosing the right property from long distance. That's number 4, and this is very important. Choosing the right property. Why do I say boots on the ground are important? Well, you're going to need to understand the areas. You're going to need to understand the neighborhoods. If you buy in the wrong neighborhood, and this happens a lot to people who use turnkey companies, or companies that sell you a house that's already got a renter in it, already got a property management company, already remodeled. I don't like turnkey companies. A lot of times when you buy from them, they've done this in bad areas, right? So you're buying a kind of a nice house in a really bad area, and you wonder why your tenants are so bad, and you wonder why you have all these problems. It's because you can understand nothing about the area. Choosing the right property from long distance is about, number 1, it's about choosing it in the right neighborhood, and I'll talk to you about how to do that. Number 2, it's also about buying a property that's going to make money as a rental. Buying in the right neighborhood. Now this is where I rely on. You can somewhat rely on a good real estate agent for this, but at the end of the day, the real estate agent just wants you to buy a house so they can get a commission. So maybe they'll help you, maybe they won't, but a property manager is a little bit different. A good property manager that is managing properties in sort of a wide area and understands their business will know that they have a better time working in these neighborhoods and a better time in these neighborhoods, and they have a lot of trouble, in this particular area, and they'll tell you that. So I want you to call all the property management companies and ask them for an introduction to how the neighborhoods work and where the best places to invest are. I do not recommend investing in the roughest areas, the cheapest areas, like where you'd have a large amount of Section 8 subsidized housing, where you'd have a large amount of crime, where you'd have like drug problems and police responses a lot. That's where the cheapest houses are and where the best deals seem to be. But you're gonna lose a lot of money in other problems like constant turnover, vandalism, and stuff like that. You don't want to go with that. High cost of living areas don't work either. High cost of living areas are so expensive and the rent isn't high enough to justify that expense, and you don't make any money. You need to find the sweet spot like in between these two things, and hopefully you can work with the property manager and get an idea of which ones might be the best. Another thing too is trusted confidant. If you happen to have, you lived there before, you have family in the area, friends, trusted confidant in the area, get them understanding the area for you so they can help you figure this stuff out. That was number 4, right? Number 5, managing contractors from long distance. This is so key. I'll talk about how this was a huge part of what I needed to do to be successful with long distance real estate investing, and I suspect many of you will have the same issue. You can't just go on the MLS, buy a move-in ready property at market value, and then hand it over to a property manager and expect to make money. Because paying market value means you're never going to meet the 1% rule. You're never going to buy a house cheap enough to make money. And the 1% rule means it's just a way of gauging properties that have a chance of making you money as a rental. A property should rent at 1% or more of basically the cost of the house plus what it took to fix it up. 1% of that it should rent at. So if it took $80,000 to buy a house, $20,000 to fix it up, that's a total of $100,000. It should rent for at least 1% of that to have a chance of being a good investment. So it should rent for at least $1,000 if it's a $100,000 house, $500 if it's a $50,000 house. High cost of living houses have no chance of doing this. Houses in really, really bad areas that have high crime can do this easily, but you don't make money because of all the other problems that go along with that. You have to find sort of that middle class, slightly lower class, middle class neighborhood that fits that sweet spot where you're not really dealing with serious crime and you're not really dealing, but at the same time, you're not paying those super high premiums for living in like the best school district. Managing contractors from long distance. The trick with this is I used my management company, right? You can't buy a house move-in ready. You've got to buy a house that needs work and you buy it at a discount, right? And then you fix it up or you get it fixed up. And hopefully by doing that, in the end, you're getting it at cheaper than market value. That gives you the opportunity to meet the 1% rule for rent so that it has a chance of making money as a rental property. But you need someone to oversee these large projects while you're overseas, right? Like while I was living in Germany and I was living in Korea, I wanted to buy houses that needed a lot of work. Well, who here in Montgomery, Alabama, which I'm not here anymore, who's going to oversee these big projects for me? In my case, I got my property manager to do that for me, and they charged me a small fee for it. Real estate agents could also fill that role. You could find a general contractor that you trust to fill that role. You could use boots on the ground, right? You could use a cousin, right? Brother, family member, friend to fill that role if you want. But you need somebody that's you're gonna have some trust with, that's gonna be handling these big projects for you. And then maybe even you gotta pay them for it. You gotta figure that out. Those are the 5 things that I feel like you have to be successful with long distance real estate investing. And I wrote a blog post about this. It's on my blog, richonmoney.com. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, hit that like button for me. Leave a comment. Again, I want to know what your thoughts are on what you're going to do with long-distance real estate investing. Feel free to ask me a question about it too. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. This is Rich at richonmoney.com signing off.